Okay, we're almost there, friends and neighbors. Okay, so we were talking about the demographic transition. We were just talking about the demographic transition, and we had said this is when a population shifts from having a very high birth rate, and they also, of course, have a high infant mortality rate. And so, how do we get there? The question is, I mean, that's where we want to go, right? If we're talking about we have a problem in our world today, we have very high human population growth. How do we get there? Well, obviously, the way to get there is for the world to move to the demographic transition. And this will slow human population growth. So how do we get there? So, well, it's obvious, really. It's through social justice. We've identified two different ways of getting there. If everyone in the world is treated in a socially just manner, and that means they have enough food to eat, they have adequate medical care, and all of their basic needs are met, then as infant mortality rates fall, then the birth rate will fall as well. That is obviously, in my mind, the best way to get there. It has been shown, though, that you can get there in another manner as well. China's big stick policy, where they say, one child only, it works. I mean, it has worked. So governmental control of reproduction is the other way of getting there. It ends up that there was a international conference on population and development. 180 countries were involved in this. And basically the consensus, all these brilliant minds, the consensus was social justice. We need to worldwide treat everyone with respect, and everyone should have a reasonable quality of life. And they went on to say that, of course, educating women was one of their major points, but they went on to say that there has never been a reduction in the birth rate that wasn't first preceded by a decline in infant mortality. So proper medical care for all is really the answer, and having enough food and so forth. And education. The final few points in this chapter dealing with human population biology is that we need to have education. People need to know how reproduction works, and that will lead to being able to make informed decisions on whether to have children, and allows for family planning. If you don't know how all that works, you can't plan to prevent unplanned pregnancies. And there is a slide. So if you look at the second to last slide in the PowerPoint, you'll see that it deals with different types of birth control, and you can see that some of them are very effective. Sterilization is darn effective, but it's unless it's by choice, it's really horrible. Contraceptive pills are very effective. They do fail in 1 to 2% of the time, but we can live with the occasional unexpected pregnancy. Other type barrier mechanisms, they're good for about 90% of the time, and so forth. And so the very last slide in this section is showing the possible trajectories for human population growth. And hopefully we'll take one of the lower trajectories by achieving something like social justice throughout the world, or if not that, then through some of these governmental controls. So this is the end of the lecture dealing with Chapter 4, human population growth.